let's get right into it. So, actually, a short clip of a video that I posted last time, I was saying that someone actually contacted me. This was someone who happened, he was there in is it the era or the regime of the former president, Idi Amin Dada. And he said, he saw my videos and he was like, okay. And the first impression he got, he was like, he feels for me because, in the video, I'm like, it bothers me when people be asking me, what do you think about Idi Amin Dada? What are your thoughts? Do you think he did the right thing or the wrong thing? And I'm like, guys, I wasn't there. And he thought it was funny how I was trying to defend myself. And then I told him, it's the truth. I wasn't there, but people be asking me. Both, by the way, I also noticed that there's also some fellow Africans who be asking me, yes, I remember that country. You people had the other brutal, is it heartless president, Amin Dada, who used to do tons of shit. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, I'm always in this state of shock because I don't know what people expect, me to say or to react. 80% of the time when they ask me that, it's always an uncomfortable situation, I'm always uncomfortable. I kind of, he asked me, so what do you do? I was like, sometimes I just play along, with the conversation. I was like, yes, that guy, oh my God, yes, I know he did that. He's a nasty motherfucker, and, or sometimes I just keep quiet and I listen, and to be honest, it's just sometimes remain awkward because I don't want to roll my eyes because they're asking me about him. Or sometimes I don't even know what to say, honestly, okay? And he told me, let me tell you, I had the chance to meet this guy, and he was a very hardworking man, and he had he was a huge guy, tall with broad chest, big stomach, and he was. So when you looked at him, you knew why he was the head of the soldiers, even by the time he threw the coup, because most of the soldiers were in his side. So it kind of made sense, and also he had all the armies on his side. Normally that's what happened. If you don't know what is a coup, go watch my previous videos. I've explained these things about the coup, how people overthrow the government, the regime and all that. And he told me, you know what? At least one thing we can learn from that is this was a person who loved his country as maybe he shouldn't have done that in public, but what he did and what is happening now, it's almost the same. The only thing is this guy used to do it in broad daylight where everyone is seeing. Unless for now, people do it in the dark, if you know what I mean. Because if you remember, he told me, was like, oh, well, you have a good knowledge about this guy because he also, mentioned about his ex-wife when she died. Yes, what he said was correct because, of course, no one really knows how. I said she was there before actually he even became the president, and then lots of stuff happened and they divorced. She went her separate ways, and always he told me that he think it might have been, also probably about, when lovers part ways, someone is jealous or that hatred comes in or that anger. So you know that someone is still angry at the other person, just like that. Or even ego, So all those things happen. But if you have seen some of his interview, actually, I remember I watched it somewhere. I don't remember where exactly, but if I find it, I'm gonna set the clip somewhere here or there. And he was saying,
this morning, Tuesday, March 26,
I have worked hard to
Amin Dada
earn the
once again
trust of
awakens out of a
people
nightmare.
in Uganda.
Killers were trying to
And if
assassinate him
anything
at home during
happened
the
to
night,
me,
and these killers were his own
or
soldiers.
if anything happened, it is the people of the
Like
country
Gaddafi and Stalin,
who are
he sleeps very
responsible
little.
for my safety.
For these
That's what
paranoid
he
men,
said.
night
And what
brings out their
that guy
worst
was saying
haters,
was correct, because I
especially
watched
Amin
this
Dada, who
interview
lives in an
somewhere.
irrational world where the spirits of his
And
dead
also,
enemies come
he
to
had
haunt him when they're
earned
seeking
the trust
revenge.
of people. But the
In
only
addition, there are
thing,
fears
he
that are
was
all
so
too real.
unpredictable.
3 years ago,
Which
as
kind
an
of
army
makes
general,
sense,
he
because if
succeeded
you
in
are the
overthrowing his
leader, if you're
predecessor
the
by a coup
boss,
d'etat.
to be honest, you
Now
kind of
he
have to be
himself is afraid of being
mysterious.
overthrown.
People shouldn't know
To
you more,
maintain
because
power and
then they
protect
can,
himself,
that's how
he
they
has
would
unleashed
use
a
it
reign of
against
terror
you.
throughout the country.
And
Any
also,
type of
if you
safety
know,
or
most of
monitoring
them
can
actually,
result in
they
hundreds
are
of arrests and
afraid
executions
of
on
the
the very
nights,
same
because
day.
nights or nighttime brings out the worst fear in them, because the devil works harder at night. For them, at least on their side. So for him, he slept very little
Everyone is
during
subjected to
night.
the repression,
And
starting with his closest
actually,
collaborators, who start to
if you
disappear from
saw
one after
some of
the
the
other.
interview, when they were interviewing their children, I saw this, she was like, my father actually used to sleep very less during night, and he would actually sleep more during the day, because, you know, it was easier for him to be attacked during night than the day. So leaders like him, nighttime brought out most of their, you know, nightmares, their weaknesses. And what he used to do actually in the White House, he would switch off all the lights in the room and in the balcony, and he would sneak. He used to snitch around and go to the balcony and stand there and watch the soldiers, how, you know, normally you can see, because of the moon, you know, the bright moon, the stars, you can actually, most of people in Europe don't understand this, but if you've been somewhere in a place where there's no electricity, or where there is darkness, because where I come from, sometime, you know, electricity used to black out, and then there's total darkness. But then, because of the moon and the stars, it is bright outside, you know, so like you kind of see what is happening. So actually this made sense to me. I was like, oh wow. So he would stand on the balcony and watch how his soldiers were, you know, guarding the place, what they're doing. So in case anyone was being sneaky, he would see and he knows. So you'd never know at what time exactly he's getting out. It could be 3 a.m., it could be 5 a.m., it could be midnight, it could be 10. And that was it. And he was a very committed person. Honestly, I think also the British Army saw it, how determined, how hardworking he was. Oops, sorry. Before he was promoted, you know, because by the time he became the president, he had gained so many ranks that he was the head, you know, commander or officer, or the chief commander of all the army. So that is how, that actually says a lot, you know, about him. And he told me, if you base on that, if these people were able to recognize him and see that, okay, this person is actually good, and he worked his ass off up to that position, he earned it. And he was, you know, I'm gonna leave it at that, and you form the word, he was a president. And I sat there, you know, after talking to this person, I had a Zoom call, and it was, what am I saying? Zoom, Skype. And I felt chills. And then at the end of everything, I kind of had mixed feeling. I was like, wow, And if you see, actually, if you talk to other people, they was like, I loved him. You know, those days, everyone was. It was only kind of hard for people who were close to him because, you know, those are the people who can actually plot against you. But for the normal people, life was good. This was what people were telling me. People who were there, you know. I was like, oh wow. He was like, if you actually see well that, yo, this dude is smart. You want to know how smart he is? Yes, he doesn't have an education background. But if you know your history well, and I believe you know because I saw, and you also mentioned it somewhere, that he was the only African leader or the only one of the presidents in the world who was not assassinated after being overthrown from the government. And yes, that is true. You know, he went to Libya and then later to Iraq. And then he went to South Arabia where he died in 2003, you know. So he was, you know, he had a natural intelligence, if I could say. I don't know if that word even do exist. I don't know. Magezi mezale. Common sense. Guys, I don't know the right word. I'm trying to, you know, figure out the word. But if you know what is magezi mezale or manually, tell us in the comment section because I can't find the word in English. So yeah, that is it. And you know, it's just gonna be a little bit of brief by brief. 9 years wasn't long, and if you had, you know, someone who was a little bit tough, and everything would happen like this. So I can imagine in 1 year, 12 months, a lot of things could have happened, or a lot of stuff happened, and you know, and yeah. So don't forget to subscribe and like, and then I'll see you guys very soon. Until next time, bye guys.